What should you invest in? Single-family homes or apartment buildings? Hi, my name's Keith Weinhold, and I'm a writer for Forbes, and I'm a 16-year real estate investor myself, and I've invested in both single-family income properties and apartment buildings. Now, we're going to look at 17 reasons why single-family homes beat apartments. Now, apartments garner attention as wealth creators, and they totally should. Their economies of scale look really great when you're running the numbers before you buy a property. But interestingly, for buy and hold income property investors, when I run the numbers after actually owning one for a few years to look back and see what really happened, I often find that my income single family residences have performed better than small to medium-sized apartment buildings. There is a reason that years ago, Warren Buffett told CNBC that he would buy up a couple 100,000 single-family homes if it were practical to do so. Now, apartment buildings do have some certain advantages over single-family income properties for sure, but let's look at why investing in single families can often be more profitable for you than investing in apartments. The first reason is tenant quality. Single families attract a better quality of tenant than apartments. The second one is appreciation. Single families appreciate better over time. The third is neighborhood. Your property tends to be in a better neighborhood. The fourth reason is school district. With single families, you're likely to be in a better one. And the fifth one is a big one, retention. Tenants tend to stay longer in a single family residence because it feels like their own. And in the apartment side, more frequent turnover and make-ready expenses and vacancy, they are an underestimated killer on apartment investor profits. Better neighborhoods and school districts really help out as well with that retention. What about common areas? Apartment buildings often have common areas to clean and maintain. They have hallways and stairs and laundry rooms that a custodian must service, and that is another overlooked profit drag that apartment investors miss. I missed that before I bought my first apartment building. What about utilities? In a single-family home, the utility payments are often all on the tenant, and the larger your apartment building is, the more likely that you are the one stuck with the utility costs. The next one's what I call divisibility. What if you got a property that's underperforming? Well, with 10 single-family residences, you can just sell the one or the two that are underperforming. Now, with a 10-unit apartment building, you've got to keep all the units or sell all the units. It's not divisible. Think about Pestilence. Now, apartment building people don't really like to talk about this, and it's kind of icky, but if one tenant attracts a cockroach or a bug infestation, this really can become a diffuse condition across the entire building and spread into other units. I recently had a tenant bring bed bugs into a 9-unit apartment building of mine. Tenants fled. Extermination fees alone were in the 5 figures. Well, in a single-family residence, pests are more easily controlled. What about fire? Even if adequately insured, apartment fires affect multiple units and families. In single-family residences, this is mitigated. What about drug dealers? Now, we're really kind of getting nasty here now, but in an apartment, one drug-dealing tenant can alienate and scare off a number of families. And again, apartment buildings attract lower quality tenants. And can you believe there actually are some more reasons why single-family homes beat apartments? Another huge one is financing. Income single-family residences typically have lower mortgage interest rates and lower down payment requirements than apartments do. A husband and wife can each get 10 single-family income property loans, 20 total, with those best rates and terms through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac with 20% down payments. And there are other financing options for you once those first 20 loans are exhausted. And apartments rarely, if ever, have these 30-year fixed-rate loans like single-family homes. What about vacancy rate? It's true that if one single-family residence is vacant, you only have 0% occupancy now. And with a fourplex, if one's vacant, you still have 75% occupancy, but the same is true if you just have 4 single-family homes. What about property management? You know, a property manager would more likely deal with single family dwellers because they're more decent typically than apartment building dwellers. I don't really recommend that you manage for long yourself. It's not your best and highest use. Look at supply and demand. Today, contractors are building many new apartments, and they rarely build these sort of low to mid-cost single-family residences that make the best rentals. Rental single-family demand vastly exceeds supply. So let's look at market risk. This is another overlooked criterion. You need to keep your rentals filled with rent-paying tenants that have jobs. If you think you're going to be able to buy, say, 10 rental units in the near future, well, your 10-unit apartment building is only going to be in one location. Well, that leaves you exposed to just one metro market's economic fortunes. Well, with 10 single-family residences, you could have 4 in Birmingham, 3 in Dallas, and 3 in Jacksonville, and actually maintain single-family residence relationships with some of the best providers and managers at greturnkey.com. That's where you can find the property. And let's look at exit strategy. Finally, down the road, when it's time to sell your income property, hopefully after years of handsome profits, you're going to have a much greater buyer pool for your single-family residence than you will for apartment buildings, and more of a buyer pool can afford the lower single-family price than an apartment building price. I regularly talk about how to optimize your real estate profits on my audio show, which you can listen to anytime by checking out the Get Rich Education podcast. And if you don't know how to listen to podcasts, you can download the Get Rich Education app for Apple or Android and listen there. I look forward to talking with you more on the Get Rich Education podcast. Also check out greturnkey.com for the properties, and over the years, that's where I've just compiled a list of the best income property providers in investor advantage markets, many of them single-family rental homes where I buy myself as an investor. Again, that's at greturnkey.com. Thanks so much for stopping by.